Michael Boynton here at Town Hall with a number of updates for you. It's been some time since we've had one of these little fireside video chats, and I want to bring you up to date on a few things that are happening, some of which are going to be some major changes for us to deal with, but let me jump into them. The first one involves our recycling center. Most everyone knows what the recycling center on Broad Street is at the site of the former landfill, Medway landfill that was capped, we believe, back in 1982. And Medway has been running a recycling center there since about the late 80s, early 90s. We don't have specific dates, but that's the information that we have available to us. The interesting thing is that after an inspection last year, it was determined that some of the material that we're taking at the recycling center actually constitutes what's called municipal solid waste, or MSW. That municipal solid waste can only be disposed of at a transfer station, cannot be disposed of at a recycling center. And part of the challenge is that a recycling center is exempt from what's called site assignment by the Department of Environmental Protection, DEP. A transfer station has to be approved by DEP. Medway has never received approval for a transfer station. In order to get a transfer station approval, one of the key points is that they look at the former site, and you have to have what's called a post-closure use plan that's been approved by DEP. Medway doesn't have one of those, and it appears Medway never got one of those when this recycling center was first established. So even though we've had years and years of inspections there, only now is it really coming to light that, in fact, we're essentially running a transfer station without authorization. So that, unfortunately, has tripped the next point about, in order to get a post-closure use plan, which you need to get a transfer station license, you have to have submitted to the DEP or have them have on file a certification from the original capping of the landfill. So it's a closure/capping, and that capping had to have been certified by the state. The town of Medway nor the DEP can locate any documentation that certifies that the cap was done in accordance with proper regulations back in 1982. We continue to look for documentation, but it's not there. So we have two issues. We have the fact that we're taking solid waste at a recycling center, which we can't. And we also now have an issue about, was that landfill properly capped back in the 80s, 1982? So we continue to try to research that situation. We continue to have long conversations with DEP, and I must say the DEP has been extremely helpful and very cooperative with us at this point. But we also fully recognize that DEP has a job to do. DEP has a responsibility to make sure that all of the landfills across the Commonwealth were properly capped whenever it was done. So we need to work with them on that situation. In the interim, and while this is painful for many folks, and some people really going to have a hard time with this, we are obligated, because we are not a licensed transfer station, we are obligated to immediately stop receiving solid waste items at the recycling center. So as of March 3rd, so we'll get through the weekend of March 1st and 2nd, but as of March 3rd, we will no longer be accepting yellow bags, we will no longer be operating the swap shop, and we will no longer be accepting bulk items, bulk trash items at the recycling center. We will have information available about the items that are recyclable. Anything that's recyclable, DEP has told us that we can continue to receive there, but anything that would otherwise have to go to an incinerator or be burned or some other landfill can no longer be disposed of or held over or swapped out at the recycling center. DEP does not specifically ban any of this at the moment, specifically the swap shop. But the challenge that we have is that the moment we accept anything that's trash related there or solid waste related, we are in violation of state law. So we have to be taking steps to work to resolve this. It is not a quick solution. There is not a quick turnaround, because again, part of the challenge, even if we wanted to apply for a transfer station license there, a number of things work against us, the most important of which is that we don't have the certification at this point that the landfill was properly capped back in the 80s. So we're working on a problem that's 40 years in the making, and we're doing our best at this point to try to get through that, and we really, truly appreciate everyone's cooperation. We understand the frustration that some folks have, but again, you have options available to you for bulk items. You have the availability of disposing them at the curb by contacting Lawrence Waste. You have the ability to put your yellow bags at the curb. There's no limitation on the amount of yellow bags that can go at the curb. So again, the town of Medway does have options available to folks outside of simply allowing recycling center disposal. We're going to continue to work through it, but please give us that patience and understand. We appreciate your patience as we try to get through this. We'll keep you up to date. A few other items, just to give you an update on. We soon will be going out to bid for the Hanlon Field track and field project. We will be having a bid that's got multiple options available to us or alternates available to us. Most importantly on that one, we are going to have a public forum at Sanford Hall on April 14th. That's a Monday night. And we will present all of the facts and figures related to what we're doing, what was proposed to be done, and hopefully we'll have bid results back and we can actually talk intelligently about what that project is and what the cost is. So no formal project, no formal scope has been settled on at this point. We will have more information as we start to see what happens with bid results and present all that information to the public, as well as obviously to the Select Board, Finance Committee, and we want to thank Superintendent Pyrus and his team at the schools because they're a very integral part of this with us. Soon also we'll go out to bid for the culvert replacement at the Medway High School driveway. We recently received Mass DOT approval on that project, and we hope to be able to receive some state reimbursement. That's north of a $2 million project and is going to close that roadway for the period of time once that culvert has to be removed. The culvert at that driveway is sinking, it's collapsing, and we need to move quickly towards replacing that. So there will be a delay. We'll have a lot more information as that project comes along as we get closer. We soon will do our bids for asbestos abatement removal and demolition of the big buildings at the former Medway block site at 120 Main Street. The old processing building is coming down, and we're going to be working through the summer, hopefully the dry months, if we can figure out when those are going to be this year, to do the soil remediation on that site, all work that we knew was planned for and was approved at the fall town meeting. On that same topic, the building committee for the municipal complex had their first meeting last night. It was a great meeting. It's a 13-member committee, a lot of great people with some amazing experience on that committee that'll be working really for the next 2 years or so just to get to a point of design and then being able to bring back to the residents of the town in either late 26 or probably 27 proposed design, so that people have an idea on what we're proposing, what they can weigh in, or what they will have a chance to weigh in on. For that, the next meeting of the committee is on February 24th. Once we resolve a few website issues, we're going to try to create a building committee page, project page, so that we'll give folks updates on what's happening there. We're proposing the road and sidewalk plan for calendar year 25 and beyond. It's a 5-year plan. We have a lot of work that needs to be done over this period of time. The most important of which is going to be a realignment of the intersection here in Matondi Square and resurfacing of Village Street. So that's probably going to take up most of our project for this year. The plan is still in draft form, so it still needs to be reviewed and approved by the Select Board. That should be hopefully happening in the next couple of meetings. If you've been paying attention, and it's almost impossible not to see this, that there are a host of changes and whirlwind of things going on in Washington, D.C., a lot of which are going to have trickle-down effects to us here in Medway, whether it's operational changes, cost increases, cost decreases, regulation changes. We continue to monitor all of that. We work with our partners at the Mass Municipal Association, and they work with their friends at the National League of Cities to see exactly what's happening. I had a conversation yesterday with the executive director of the MMA, and we just continue to monitor all of what's happening. There's no immediate impact to us, but over the course of time, we'll see where the changes are. No opinions, just changes at this point. The Medway budget, to my left is the Medway fiscal 26 proposed budget. A lot of engagement with all of our departments, a lot of engagement with the school committee, the superintendent, his team, and a tri-board meeting that we had a few weeks ago. This budget, which goes to the Select Board within the next week, makes a lot of investment in upgrades in public education, both here in Medway, and also some funding set aside to help us pay for our share of the project. That is the new Tri-County Voc School, high school that is under construction, is going to be built in Franklin. So we have a lot of changes in this budget, not a lot of new personnel, very few proposed changes. And again, this also needs to go to the Select Board. They'll meet in their budget workshop in March, to go through all of the major departments, all of the departments for that matter, and then that'll get transmitted to the Finance Committee, who will conduct their review as we go into town meeting in May. So there is a ton of things happening right now here. I'd like to say all good. Obviously, the recycling center changes are not necessarily good for those that use it on a regular basis for things like yellow bags, but we do have changes coming, and we'll do our best to try to communicate all of that as we go along. Signage will go up at the recycling center this week so people will see it. And I want to give a shout out to Pete Pelletier, our director of DPW, Stephanie Carlisle, and Nolan Lynch from DPW as well, who have been working very diligently with us, and the DEP, Steve Carew, our park superintendent as well, as we try to work through these challenges. Again, this is not a confrontational situation with DEP. This is a collaboration effort as we try to truly understand what those that came before us in the 80s did and maybe didn't do, and we'll try to get resolution to this. So that's all from here. It's a ton to a process. And again, anybody has any questions, please give us a call. We're happy to help out. Thank you.